Okay, this demo is on text effects in InDesign. We're going to start with text wrap. So first I'm just going to place some copy in here. We'll hit Command D, get the program spell check copy, and place it. Okay. First thing I want to do here is turn this into a two-column text box so we can wrap text on both sides of the type. And what we want to do is have this selected. And right here is your number of columns. And sometimes it's hard to find this. If your window isn't open all the way, you're not going to see it. So you want to pull this out. And I can switch this to two columns. And I'm going to pull what we call the window shade up a little bit. Okay. And first we're going to wrap text around a bounding box. So I'll get the rectangle frame tool, the picture box, and I'm just going to make a rectangle frame, and I'll hit Command D, and I'm going to get an image. Okay, and right now this text is behind this. We want it to wrap around it. So basically what I'm going to do is, with this selected, next we need our text wrap palette, and the shortcut key is Option Command W. Okay, and if we look at this, we have no text wrap around a bounding box, and wrap around an object shape. We want the second one, wrap around a bounding box. Okay, this type is now being pushed around this, but we never have type all the way up against an image like this, so we want to give it some space here. So we're going to click on this right here, which is our inset, and start to move that type away. Okay, if we want, right now this alignment is left alignment or flush left, rag right. Well, if we want this to look like flush on both sides, we'll go into our, first we'll select our text box. And with our type tool, we'll put this on justified. And see, now it's like that all the way across on both sides. Okay, so I was wrapping text around a bounding box. So next we're gonna delete that, and I'm gonna put that get my text box selected and put that back on left alignment. Okay, now we're gonna wrap text around an object shape or shape with no background. So once again, I'll make a rectangle frame, and I'll hit Command D. And this time I'm going to get the Ducky EPS. Okay, you see his background's been removed. And I want to open up the picture box so we can see all of him. Okay, and you notice he's looking low res here, so we're going to put it on high quality display. We'll just go to View, Display Performance, High Quality. Okay, so we got him selected, and now, as I said before, this is no text wrap. This is wrap around a bounding box. Okay, you can see what's that doing, but we want this one here, wrap around an object shape. Okay, now it's not looking there yet. What we need to do is go down to here under our contour options type, and we're going to put this on detect edges. And now we can see the text wrapping around it. Once again, we need a little bit of a cushion around here. So we're going to go ahead and open this up so the type's not up against our image. I will deselect that. Then I'm going to hit W for preview, and there's our text wrap. Okay. Now there's something called live refresh, which will show you how it's wrapping, how it's going to wrap, and you can adjust it. Now if I just click on this and move it, it's not going to give me that live refresh. Okay. What I need to do, zoom in a little here, is click and hold for a second. Now we get the live refresh, and now we can move it till we get it where we want it. Okay. Now there's another thing. We can customize this text wrap. If we look here, maybe I don't want this word carpenter hyphenated here. I need to customize that. So what I'm going to do is, with this selected, I'm going to go to my direct selection tool. Okay, white arrow, and click on it. And now we can see these little anchor points that are creating our text wrap. And with the direct selection tool, I can move these now to force that over. See, now it's over here, got rid of that hyphen. So that's how you can customize your text wrap. So that is wrapping text around an image with no background. Now, there's also ignore text wrap. Sometimes if you have more than one image over a text box and you need to ignore it because it's picking it up where you don't want it. What that is text frame options. So I'm going to select the text box and hit Command B. This is text frame options. We'll use this a lot in here. But one of the features in here is ignore text wrap. So I can click here and then preview it. You see it's ignoring the text wrap on that particular one. Okay, text frame options. So that is wrapping text in InDesign. Next, we're going to learn about paragraph rules. So I'll delete what we got. And I'll bring that text in again, Command D. And place it. And now I'm going to zoom in on this. Oops, not that much. Okay. And basically, I'm going to bring up my invisibles, Option Command I, and take my type tool and put a hard return after April 22nd. And you can see there's my hard return, my paragraph symbol. Now I'm going to triple click on this line, and I'm going to switch the font first. So I'll put that on Impact. Okay, and on my character palette, I think I'll condense it some. And then I'm going to take it up to about 18 point for a subhead. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to get this rest of this copy away from it. So I'm going to do a space after in paragraph formatting. So I'll triple click, always triple click because that'll get the hard return too. And then up here in the paragraph part of my control panel, I'm going to put a space after of 1/4 inch, just to move that out of the way, give us some room here. Okay, now I have my subhead selected and I have the hard return selected. So now I'm going to hit Option Command J. This is paragraph rules. And notice in here we have rule above and rule below. I'm going to put it on rule below and check it. And it's previewing it. See, I have preview on. So right now it's putting a 1-point rule all the way across the width of the column. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first crank that up some. Then I'm going to change the color. Okay, and now we want to type the line right up with our subhead, or the rule to line up with our subhead. So I'm going to switch it from column to text, width of text, and then it locks right up. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, there's our rule. Now I don't want this rule to be right on the type. We want to move it down a little bit. So we're going to triple click again, go back to Option Command J. And I think I'll take that back to 4 point. Now, as I said, we don't want this sitting on the baseline, so that'll be our offset. So if I click just one click on that, that'll give me a 0.0625, and that's enough to move that out of the way. Okay, so we'll go ahead and OK that. And back off a little bit. And now this rule is anchored in the text. So I can move this whole text box, move it to another page, and it's going to come along for the ride. Okay, now we can also use this to create a reverse type out of a bar. So we're going to go triple click again and go back into Option Command J. All right, and what I'm going to do is first I'll switch the color to a darker color. And then I'm going to crank this way up to, we'll see what 20 points gives us. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now we need this to move up so the type can reverse out of it. So we're going to do a negative offset. So it starts to move it up like that. So, and we are width of text. That's looking good. So we'll go ahead and OK that. And take a look at it. Okay, looking pretty good. Now we want this to reverse out, so we're just going to take our type tool and triple click again. I'm going to bring up my swatch palette, so I'm going to go Window, Color, Swatches, and I'm going to make that white. Now in InDesign, that's paper, because white is just the white paper coming through. They do not print white ink, okay? So anytime you see white, it's going to be paper. So now we'll take another look at it. Okay, now you notice it's a little low. If we want to get this centered, we can put a baseline shift on that. This is up and down. And this will be our baseline shift on our character palette. And I'll start to shift that up. And that'll work for me. So now we'll take another look. Okay, now also we can extend this rule beyond here a little bit, because you can see it's right on the edge. So once again, I'm going to triple click and Option Command J. And we're going to mess with our left indent, right indent, and see what it does here. You can see if I go that way, it's pulling it in. I want to go the opposite to do a negative. See, it's pushing it out a little bit. And then we'll do the same thing on the right-hand side. And we'll take a look at that. So now, and then I'll hit W, so we just preview it. And there's our nice reversed subhead out of a bar. And once again, this is anchored in the text. We get out of W, preview. There we go. So wherever we move that, it goes along for the ride. Okay, now the next one is creating a drop shadow effect, which you'll need for your bike ad. So I'm going to go ahead and use this same type. Just going to get rid of the paragraph rule. So I'll triple click on it, Option Command J, and I'm just going to turn that off. Okay, now we can't see our type anymore because it's white or paper, so I'm going to put that back to black. Okay, and basically we want to put a nice little drop shadow under here, and it's an effect. And the tricky thing is here is if you are in your type tool, which you think that's where you need to be, and you want to go ahead and do the effect, you notice it's grayed out, you can't get to it. So what you have to do with InDesign is you need to have your text box selected. But first of all, I'm going to back off here. I'm going to get rid of all the other text because we don't want to drop shadow on everything. So we'll just delete that. And we basically have one little text box here that we're working with. Okay, and then we'll zoom back in. Okay, now as I said, if you have this selected with the type tool, and you try to go into effects, it's going to be grayed out. You need to have it selected with your selection tool, black arrow. Okay, so I've got the text box selected, and now I'll go Object, Effects, and Drop Shadow. Okay, and there's two things you check. Well, first of all, you have these different options in here. We want Drop Shadow. Okay, and then under the mode, we want that just to be on normal. Okay, and then we can preview that. Okay, and then we can adjust the offset because that's a little too much there. Something like that there. You can also change the opacity on it because it is transparent. And you can also, with your preview on, move this around this way till you get what you're looking for. So that is applying a drop shadow to text.